Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we're here. You can't really see it so well, but just out that door, it is snowing like anything. What did they say in the British papers?
Snowmageddon.
Snowmageddon, like Armageddon, but with snow.
It's horrible.
I think it's lovely. I like snow, but I do understand it can make a mess.
And just so you're aware, we're in Matchless Gifts, and this is the front door which everyone would walk through. Amazing.
Yeah. And we're here to read the Srimad Bhagavatam and honor our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. So, see Daisy. So, yeah.
All right. Canto 4, Chapter 12, Text 43.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 43. Dhruva Maharaj attained an exalted position at the age of only 5 or 6 after undergoing austerity for 6 months. Alas, a great Kshatriya cannot achieve such a position even after undergoing austerities for many, many years. Purport. Dhruva Maharaj is described herein as Kshatriya Bandhu, which indicates that he was not fully trained as a Kshatriya because he was only 5 years old. He was not a mature Kshatriya. A Kshatriya or Brahmana has to take training. A boy born in the family of a Brahmana is not immediately a Brahmana. He has to take up the training and the purificatory process. Nice point about being just because you're born in a family of Brahmins or otherwise, you still need to be trained up. Not that my dad's such and such and so I'm such and such, you know? So it's a nice point.
Yeah, one is, what is it? Chatur Varnam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Guna and karma. So according to one's guna, which is character and nature, and karma, one's activities, then one fits into the Chatur Varnam, the 4 Varnas. So, yeah, you can be born in a family of Brahmanas and be a Shudra. You can be born in a family of Shudras and be a Brahmana. You can be, like that. But it's interesting, what I found interesting here is that the point is that he wasn't a full Kshatriya because he hadn't been trained yet. So he had clearly Kshatriya nature, and Narada Muni recognized that also, because he made comments about how interesting it is, the nature of the Kshatriyas, that a little upset or a little offense can cause them to get really worked up. But he wasn't a complete Kshatriya because he hadn't been trained. Something like that. Interesting. Okay, second paragraph. The great sage Narada Muni was very proud of having a devotee disciple like Dhruva Maharaj. He had many other disciples, but he was very pleased with Dhruva Maharaj because in one lifetime, by dint of his severe penances and austerities, he had achieved Vaikuntha, which was never achieved by any other king's son or Rajarishi throughout the whole universe. Very interesting. There is the instance of the great king Bharat, who was also a great devotee, but he attained Vaikuntha Loka in 3 lives. In the first life, he executed austerities in the forest. He became a victim of too much affection for a small deer. And in his next life, had to take birth as a deer. Although he had a deer's body, he remembered his spiritual position, but he still had to wait until the next life for perfection. In the next life, he took birth as Jad Bharat. Of course, in that life, he was completely freed from all material entanglement, and he attained perfection and was elevated to Vaikuntha Loka. The lesson from the life of Dhruva Maharaj is that if one likes, one can attain Vaikuntha Loka in one life without waiting for many other lives. My Guru Maharaj, Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada used to say that every one of his disciples could attain Vaikuntha Loka in this life without waiting for another life to execute devotional service. One simply has to become as serious and sincere as Dhruva Maharaj. Then it is quite possible to attain Vaikuntha Loka and go back home, back to Godhead in one life. Serious and sincere. We simply have to become as serious and sincere as Dhruva Maharaj. Now, he performed some intense austerities, and I do get a little bit confused because we understand that the process by which we attract Krishna and go to Krishna is bhakti, but we see here that somehow or other Dhruva Maharaj performed austerities and penances, and he achieved that extreme position, and it's exalted. But in different passages and purports, it's understood that those penances and austerities were not what really did it. It was because he was serving his pure devotee spiritual master, Narada Muni. He was following the instructions, and lest we forget that he was also instructed to chant a mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So he was also chanting this mantra, and he was searching for Krishna. He was searching for God. Now, he was materially motivated, so that means it wasn't exactly pure bhakti. But because once he got the darshan of the Lord, his heart had become purified, and he just wanted the Lord only, then that transformation was very powerful. So, but anyway, the main point that I'm getting that Srila Prabhupada is making here is that we can go back in one life. So please put your hands up, make some comments down there, and let us know if, you want to go back in one life. Or would you rather hang around?
No thanks.
No thanks.
Text 44. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, whatever you have asked from me about the great reputation and character of Dhruva Maharaj, I have explained to you all in detail. Great saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj.
Haribo! We can share that on Sunday.
Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam means everything in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether we hear the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord, or we hear about the character, reputation, and activities of his devotees. They are all one and the same. Neophyte devotees simply try to understand the pastimes of the Lord and are not very interested in hearing about the activities of his devotees. But such discrimination should not be indulged in by any real devotee. Sometimes less intelligent men try to hear about the rasa dance of Krishna and do not take care to hear about other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam, which they completely avoid. There are professional Bhagavatam reciters who abruptly go to the Rasa Leela chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam as if other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam were useless. This kind of discrimination and abrupt adoption of the Rasa Leela pastimes of the Lord is not approved by the Acharyas. A sincere devotee should read every chapter and every word of Srimad Bhagavatam, for the beginning verses describe that it is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature. Devotees should not try to avoid even a word of Srimad Bhagavatam. The great sage Maitreya therefore affirmed herein that the Bhagavatam is samantam satam, approved by great devotees. It's interesting. There are parts and portions of the Bhagavatam that I'm like, trying to think what it is now.
Usually it's universal creation parts, or
I guess
for most people, or the lists of
names and whatnot.
Some people don't like the prayers sections. Oh, here goes a bunch of prayers again. So like that.
Yeah, I'm just being honest, but I have read them, I'll be honest. But I do like the pastimes. I I don't necessarily jump to the Rasa Leela and all that. I like the fighting pastimes anyway, so I don't jump to the Rasa Leela.
She has a special Rasa Leela. Rakshasa Rasa Leela.
Anyway, it's interesting. It's nice to hear about the glories of the Bhagavatam. When I was first coming to the temple, I was hearing, I think it's from Prabhupada or devotee classes, and that if you don't have deities, or you don't have to have deities at home anyway, you know, but you can put the Bhagavatam, you can put the book, the Sastras books, and worship them. I remember hearing that because I like reading and I'm a nerd. I was thinking, oh, that's so cool.
Yay! Okay, so text 45. By hearing the narration of Dhruva Maharaj, one can fulfill desires for wealth, reputation, and increased duration of life. It is so auspicious that one can even go to a heavenly planet or attain Dhruva Loka, which was achieved by Dhruva Maharaj just by hearing about him. So I think that sounded a little different, but yeah, one can go to Dhruva Loka, the planet of Dhruva Maharaj, just simply by hearing about him. The demigods also become pleased because this narration is so glorious and it's so powerful that it can counteract all the results of one's sinful actions.
No, there you go.
Gauranga Nitai Goda Hari Bol. Purport. There are different types of men in this world. Not all of them are pure devotees. Some are karmis, desiring to acquire vast wealth. There are also persons who are only after reputation. Some desire to be elevated to the heavenly planets or to go to Dhruva Loka, and others want to please the demigods to get material profits. Herein it is recommended by Maitreya that every one of them can hear the narration about Dhruva Maharaj and thus get their desired goal. It is recommended that the devotees Akama, the karmis Sarvakama, and the Gyanis who desire to be liberated Mokshakama should all worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead to acquire their desired goals of life. Similarly, if anyone hears about the activities of the Lord's devotee, he can achieve the same result. Powerful. There is no difference between the activities and character of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and those of His pure devotees. Jai. There is no difference between the activities and character of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and those of His pure devotees. Which means if we extol the glories of a devotee of the Lord, that's the same as extolling the glories of the Lord. And, in that way, the pure devotee is synonymous with the Lord. Or as Prabhupada would say, non-different. It doesn't mean he is God, but it means he's not different from God. He should be treated as good as God, but he's not God. So that's the nature of the pure devotee. And Prabhupada also cites this verse, Akama sarvakama va mokshakama udaradihi, which is, like he said, that whether you're akama means you have no material desires, sarvakama, full of material desires, or mokshakama, whether you desire liberation. No matter what, you should, Bhakti Yogena, what is it? Tivyena Bhakti Yogena, I think is the verse. So one should practice bhakti and come to the Lord. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. I think that helps us to understand the previous section where it seems like it's not pure bhakti, but because bhakti is such a strong element, because you're approaching the Lord for it, then the Lord, He is, what is that statement? He is Bhava Janardana. He accepts, Bhavagrahi, that's it, Bhavagrahi Janardana. He accepts the intention. He extracts the love, the bhava. So it's very powerful.
Will you read, Tom?
Yeah, read one more, because I think
text
getting closer
46.
to the end.
Anyone who hears the narration of Dhruva Maharaj and who repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character, attains the pure devotional platform, and executes pure devotional service. By such activities, one can diminish the threefold miserable conditions of material life.
Haribo! Go Ranga.
I'm not convinced because you're yawning at the same time. It didn't convince us.
Haribo!
I'm sorry, everyone.
I'm sorry too.
Purport. Here the word Achyuta Priya is very significant. Dhruva Maharaj's character and reputation are great because he is very dear to Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the pastime and activities of the Supreme Lord are pleasing to everyone, hearing about his devotees who are very dear to the Supreme Person is also pleasing and potent. If one simply reads over and over again about Dhruva Maharaj by hearing and reading this chapter, one can attain the highest perfection of life in any way he desires. Jeepers. Most importantly, he gets the chance to become a great devotee. Oh, and that as well, on top of whatever I desire. That's a win-win. To become a great devotee means to finish all miserable conditions of materialistic life. Well, that's a win-win right there, isn't it, everybody? So I think you lot should all re-watch the vlog, so then you're like hearing it again. I mean, you don't have to. You
No,
just
do that. Yeah, please watch them again and again and again. Just put them on rerun.
and we'll reread it. And then all of us can walk around with all our great desires fulfilled, and we'd be great devotees. We're not motivated in any way.
No.
But anyway, it just goes to show, the point is, to give such a benediction to the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj goes to show the potency, first of all, of a devotee of the Lord, secondly, the Bhagavatam itself, which is transmitting the
That sound vibration.
Yeah, so that's the point, isn't it? Really, it's like, wait a minute, this stuff is pretty potent. Gosh, I better start glorifying devotees because it's a pretty good thing to do, and I better start reading the Bhagavatam because it's more potent than drugs. I don't take drugs.
Okay, we're going to read one more because I'm thinking the closer we get, we're almost at the end of the chapter, so we might finish it in the next one. Not that the goal is to finish, but
Yeah.
Text 47. Anyone who hears this narration of Dhruva Maharaj acquires exalted qualities like him. For anyone who desires greatness, prowess, or influence, here is the process by which to acquire them. And for thoughtful men who want adoration, here is the proper means. Thoughtful men who want adoration. Doesn't seem to go together, but anyway. Purport. In the material world, everyone is after profit, respectability, and reputation. Everyone wants the supreme exalted position, and everyone wants to hear about the great qualities of exalted persons. All ambitions which are desirable for great persons can be fulfilled simply by reading and understanding the narration of Dhruva Maharaj's activities. All ambitions which are desirable for great persons can be fulfilled simply by reading and understanding the narration of Dhruva Maharaj's activities.
Amazing.
I mean, there are lots of pastimes, and at the end there's often, this is called, I think this is called Ashirvad. So at the end there's a blessing that's given if you read this. Now, of course, we're not devotees, pure devotees aren't after any benediction. They just relish hearing the pastimes of the Lord's pure devotees. But at the same time, this is a lot. I've not seen this many Ashirvads at the end of any pastime. But as we carry on, you can keep your eyes and ears open. But this is, I mean, Dhruva Maharaj must be exceptionally dear to the Lord. So it's very special. Okay, shall we finish there? The next purport's quite long.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Please read Srimad Bhagavatam. Read this read this pastime again and again and again. Watch the vlogs again and again and again. I'm not trying to get you to just view the vlogs over and over. but why not?
And subscribe.
And subscribe.
Yeah, actually subscribe, because YouTube have changed some. I'm glad there's some change going on, because they're always changing things. So some of you, I think someone even noted it in the comments, they didn't get notified when I uploaded the latest vlog, which normally it would come up, especially on your feed if you watch it. So there, and I noticed this on other vlogs I may view, and people are complaining, and so it was explained that YouTube have changed some stuff, algorithms or admin or whatever, so you have to actually subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and then that will push it up on your feed or let you know.
I thought that was the only way you got notified anyway.
No, because I'm not, anyway, no, it gets pushed on your feed if you watch something regularly.
Okay.
It comes up. But so apparently vlogs getting lost, as it were, and that's because something they've changed.
So anyway, subscribe or miss out. All right, thank you all very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. 26 2nd Avenue, Srila Prabhupada's Matchless Gifts Ki Jai.